just tell us your outlook for your team?
Sure. Well, first of all, we're very excited about it. I really like our senior class this year. These are guys that have played in a lot of big games. Our guys have a little bit of chip on their shoulder, though. I mean, because I think we definitely lost some big names from last year that everybody knew about, and so I think our guys have a little bit of chip on their shoulder to try to prove themselves, and so it's all about January till now, and I think our guys have done a great job coming closer together as a team, and we're really excited about it. I mean, it's definitely I think it's a little different than last season from the standpoint we're not quite as veteran of the teams. I think we're going to have some guys that don't have as much experience, even some younger guys we're going to have to count on, but it's just one of those we're going to have to try to get better each and every week, and hopefully by the time you're at the end of the season, you're playing your best football.
It's no secret that you guys put a lot on your quarterback. Do you know who's going to play quarterback yet?
Sure, we've had a few guys that have been getting reps there. Seth Shellner right now is our guy. He's going to be a senior next year, and Seth's about 6'2", about 205. Guy that is a very mobile quarterback. I mean, at a lot of camps this summer, he was running in low 4.6s in the 40, and a guy that can just do different things with the ball in his hand. When the play breaks down, he can make a play. So we're really excited about Seth. Seth was a guy that started on defense for us last year, and I think that tells you something about him as a player and as a person. I mean, he's a team guy, and we just wanted to get him on the field last year. So even though he doesn't have as much experience at quarterback, he's been in the thick of things on Friday nights. He's played in big games, made a lot of big plays last year on defense, and so we're excited about where he's at, and think he's going to have a big year for us.
Coach, tell us about some of the players that maybe we haven't seen in the past that might be stepping up this year, filling some roles for you.
Sure. Offensively, we're excited about what we have. We've got we have our whole backfield back. So our running backs, Armani Goodwin and Sean Jackson. A lot of people know about them. But we're at receiver. I'm excited. We have some guys that Jameer Reese was a guy that's had a great offseason and really progressed this summer. Had a great summer in 7-on-7, but Jameer's a big, tall target, and he actually started last year. But we had some other guys that got the ball a little bit more than everybody knew about. So excited about him. Amari Kelly's another guy that will be a big weapon for us offensively. That's only a sophomore, but the guy that's going to be really good for us there. Defensively, we got some young guys there too. Eric's one of the leaders on the defensive line. We also have Justice Finkley, who's a guy that will be a younger. I mean, he's going to be a sophomore, but has a chance to be really good. So there's some younger guys over there. Trey Washington's another one that started at corner opposite of Malachi last year, and so a lot of times they didn't pick on Malachi, so they tried to go to Trey. So Trey, when we threw him in the fire early, he played a lot of good football teams, and so Trey's a guy that he'll be a junior next year. Trey, he's not got people may not know his name as much, but they'll definitely know his name by after a few games this year.
Coach, I got a question for you. You got the losses that you had last year were very close games.
Right.
So here's a question. The kicking game is very important.
Sure.
Could have won it for you. Who you got coming back as kicker this year? What's the situation there?
Nobody. We graduated our guy. Parker Coleman is a guy. That's a big loss, and sometimes people don't talk about the special teams as much. I'm glad you asked that, that's a big part of the game, obviously. Parker was a 4-year starter for us. I mean, his name's in the state record books and a lot of things. So that's a big challenge, big concern. We got C.J. Curtis was a guy that actually was a freshman for us last year, be a sophomore this year. He's really the leader right now as far as trying to be our kicker heading into this fall. Got played as a freshman last year with the freshman football team, but just needs experience. A guy that's got a lot of potential. Just has to go out there and do it on Friday nights.
Who's going to be your return man?
Well, I mean that's still up in the air a little bit, but we feel like we have a lot of weapons. Eric wants to return, but we're not going to let him do it. No, we got, but Malachi's got to be back there. DeZaylen Worsham will be back there. Armani Goodwin, Trey Washington. I mentioned Trey earlier. Trey is a big-time player in the return game. Very good at punt return, kick return. So we feel like we have a lot of weapons back there this year.
For the players, one of the things that Coach said earlier was that he felt like you guys are entering this season with the mindset of having something to prove. First of all, do you agree with that? And then second, how does that carry over into the season?
I think we all do agree with that. Just with Hall and Pierce leaving, people think we're not going to be as good as we were last year. I think that was the whole team last year. We're just ready to show them that everybody can step up and ready to make a play. What was the second part of the question?
Just how do you carry that attitude into the season?
Just working hard every day, not taking any days and plays off.
What do you guys think?
I mean, I agree with Malachi definitely, but I also think that we have something to prove because, like you said, the games that we did lose were all really close, like one-score games that we had plenty of chances to win. So, I mean, I think a big thing is, like, taking practice very seriously and knowing that it can come down to the little things, so doing the little things right day in and day out.
With Malachi, what Malachi said, everybody knows we lost a couple big names, and everybody thinks we're not going to be as good as we were last year. But every day we just come and work hard. We're going to be just another good team this year.
Coach, social media, or for the players actually, social media has played a big impact on the world and sports in the last couple of years. For the players, what do you guys do during the week, game day, get ready for a game, using social media, or if anything?
I wouldn't say we use social media too much. A part of what we use for social media is probably just talking to a local news outlets, stuff like that, just doing a couple interviews, just getting us ready for the game.
And I just agree with Eric, just getting ready for a game. I mean, I try not to like get distracted because, I mean, get on social media, it's pretty easy to get distracted. So I just try to stay as focused as I can on the day ahead.
Game day come, I really don't try to get on social media a lot. But throughout the week, you get on Twitter, you might see something somebody said about your team or the advantages their team have against yours and could fuel the fire. So,
Coach, we know the disadvantages of social media. How do you have you done anything with your players to warn them against things?
Well, I mean, it's something we talk about some, just mainly from the standpoint of don't get on there and stir stuff up or those things follow you forever. That's what we try to tell them. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's Twitter, Instagram, whatever. I mean, once it's out there, it's out there. And so it doesn't matter if they're a guy wanting to go play college football, if they're one to, they could be interviewing for a job one day and somebody pulls up something that somebody said on Facebook from 5 years ago. I mean, there's plenty of examples of that. People not getting jobs because of, somebody said something stupid 5 or 6 years ago, and that's not all fair, because kids are kids and kids make mistakes, but we try to help them as much as we can to, try to lead them and guide them in that direction. I mean, as far as the game's concerned, I mean, we just try not to worry about all that stuff. I mean, it's like anybody, it can distract anybody. I mean, it can distract a coach. I mean, it doesn't matter who it is, an adult or a kid.
You guys use it for scouting other teams?
I wouldn't say so.
Not really. I mean, we get so much video these
I know
days
you
with
use
teams.
Huddle, but I was just wondering if you use social media to scout also.
Not
It's
really.
interesting when we talk about the social media landscape because for Malachi and for Eric being SEC commitments, that scrutiny gets magnified, right?
No doubt.
Anything they say, it's different than if it's the third string guy. So how have you guys tried to handle that?
just not do anything out of my character on social media.
What do you think, Eric?
I try to do. I'm not really on social media too much, so I really just try not to say anything negative, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, I've got a question for you. You've been there a while now. Complacency comes down to people not caring much about the team anymore and not going to games and community. And what have you implemented in the last year or two or this year coming up to bring back Husky pride to Hewitt-Trussville and the Respark programs?
Well, I think the biggest thing that we've tried to do since I'll be going on my 6th season this year, so I feel like I've been there a while now. But we try to pour into the younger groups, and I think that ends up it's not just for that, but I think it ends up being a byproduct of our coaches and our staff spending time even with the youth league kids. I mean, definitely with the middle school program, but even the youth league. And I have 3 boys myself that have all played in the youth league, so I've got even more of a vested interest in there. I'm around them anyway, but we've really tried to pour in to our younger groups, and I think when that happens, I think it's just an automatic byproduct. You know, they're going to come out to games and they're going to be supportive, and we've tried to do everything we can to make it fun and to where it's a special thing to be a Husky one day. And we feel like I'm excited about our guys from
For the players,
first grade all the way up.
For the players, y'all are mentors to the younger men in the community. How do y'all handle that?
Just try to set a good example for them. And if someone follow me on social media and they hit me up, I tell them, if you ever need anything, just call me and text me. I'll come pick you up. If you're trying to work out or anything, just call me.
I can say, along with Malachi said, I try to do anything for the upcoming freshmen and sophomores, give them a ride, maybe get some gear, some shirts, helping them after practice, do anything I can help.
I mean, I know when I was a freshman and even in middle school, I looked up to the older seniors so much. I mean, just followed everything they did. So being a senior now, I know that I need to set a good example for the younger guys.
You know, you mentioned, or Malachi pointed out, Pierce and Paul being gone. But I'm curious, particularly for Malachi and for Eric, were there things that you learned from those guys, particularly when navigating the recruiting process at the same time that you're playing your senior season, that maybe you could take and apply to this year?
Yes, sir. They really didn't let anything distract their focus from their team goals. Mm-hmm. They just kept everything in line and what's important.
I have to say, Pierce and Paul taught me a lot about what to say, what not to say. They really didn't let that get to them, especially during the season. They didn't let anything on social media get to them like that.
And I mean, I just want to go back to the quarterback situation for a moment. Because you guys have played, it's the same offense, but you played with different styles of guys.
Right.
You've had a guy who could really run it. You've had a guy that was basically a drop back guy. How would you describe Shelnut? And then how do you, I'm not asking you to give away your game plan, but how do you design something for his unique skill set?
I mean, I definitely think our offense is going to look a little bit different this year. I mean, our system's our system, and we don't go too far off of that. But I mean, the quarterback, he's the guy that gets the ball every single play. So our system's always going to be based. Our play calling, how we game plan is always going to start with our quarterback. Our first couple of years we had Zach Thomas, who's he was a conference player of the year last year in the Sun Belt. He was a completely different quarterback. Rushed for 1,000 yards and was a dual threat. The last 3 years we've had Paul Tyson, we had Connor Adair, he's of Memphis also, and so you're talking about two guys that are 6'4", totally different type of quarterback. So Seth's definitely more of a guy that can, we're definitely gonna run the ball with him. I mean, I don't want to go into it trying to run the quarterback 15, 20 times a game to win. I mean, that's not what we want to do, but he's a guy that I think a defense will have to respect running the football. And he throws the ball really, has a great arm. He's just going to keep getting better with all that. He's got some really good weapons to throw to. That's one thing I think our receivers have improved a lot over the past 5 or 6 years, maybe compared to when we were first here. I think we have a few more weapons to throw to. So I think that's going to make, it's not like Seth has to do it all on his own. But one thing I like, we have two other quarterbacks. Jackson Holland's another one that will be a junior, but he's good chance he's going to start at safety for us, similar to what Seth did. Yeah. And then Cade Cruz, a really young guy that'll be a sophomore. Cade has a big future ahead of him. He led our freshman to an undefeated season. But the thing about all three of those guys, they're all very similar. And so, it's a little bit easier to adjust that. If there is an injury, you don't have to change the whole thing. I mean, hopefully we're healthy all year, but we have to prepare to not be. And so it allows you to have at least the same game plan if something happens.
And I guess probably every opponent assumes that Malachi might play some offense, but might you guys use him some more over there?
Definitely. I mean, and I think Malachi obviously would be a great receiver if he got every snap over there. He'd be a great receiver over there. So we're definitely gonna put him over there. I think would be crazy not to. But he's such a big factor of what we do on defense, and he's probably played more snaps and more games than anybody else on that side of the ball, and so he's gonna be a big leader for us over there.
And will he play more safety this year, or exclusively at safety, or have you guys made that determination?
I mean, we're going to move him around a little bit more. He's definitely going to play some more safety. You know, last year was pretty much corner. You know, probably 95% of the time. So we think we can do some different things with Malachi at safety, but we know he has the ability to go to corner, and so we'll probably still try to move him around and do some different things with him and just adjust each week.
And just what's your perspective about moving around and playing some different spots?
It allows me to learn everybody's position on the defense. Like when I was at corner, I would just like manned up most of the time. So now that I moved to safety, I have to know what the corner doing, what the linebacker doing, what the defensive line doing. So it really helps me learn the game more.